We just got blindsided by this, and as all eyes were on DeAnthony Melton and Bradley Beal joining the Lakers, a shocking new report has dropped revealing that Rob Pelinka is up to something that nobody saw coming. We're going to break down that exact report and discuss what this means going forward, as it has huge implications on this team's plan as they continue to build around Luka Doncic and LeBron James heading into next season. We also have some interesting updates surrounding Jake LaRavia as he spoke out on joining the Lakers and revealed the truth behind why he chose the Lakers above other teams. But before we get into all of it, folks, if you're a part of the percentage who aren't subscribed to the channel, this is the place to be for daily Lakers content. News is really starting to pick up, and of course, the season is inching closer and closer. So if you're enjoying the daily content, make sure to hit the subscribe button. You guys have been absolute beasts with the support. Folks, a lot to go over today, and we got blindsided by a new report that has dropped, and of course, I've been covering it on the channel. The Lakers have been interested in several different players, and obviously, these were supposedly zeroing in on DeAnthony Melton, and like I mentioned in my video last night, Bradley Beal has come to the forefront, and that still is the case. But among all this, a new report has dropped revealing one target in particular, but really three. We're going to be focusing on one here, and it is surrounding a couple of different guys. You can see this here. The Lakers showing interest in Matisse Thybulle, Ayo Dosunmu, and Marcus Smart per Anthony Irwin. Sources say that Matisse Thybulle, Marcus Smart, though most teams are watching to see if he's going to get bought out. We'll have another video on that soon. And Ayo Dosunmu are other names the Lakers have had preliminary conversations with teams about availability and price, though no offers have been made. But of course, their interest is real. Now, this is Anthony Irwin, so take it with a little bit of a grain of salt, but at the same time, it makes a lot of sense for a couple of these guys. We're going to be focusing in on Ayo. Also, of course, Matisse Thybulle is a very interesting name as well, but there's been some links surrounding the Lakers lately because of what they need. And of course, they need a backup point guard still. Of course, you have Gabe Vincent, though it seems to be kind of the number one guy in a lot of these talks that are going down. But let's touch on Dosunmu a little bit here. Now, he obviously came into the league a few years ago with the Bulls, had a couple really good years, but last year had his best season of his career. I guess technically you could argue 2023 was probably better efficiency-wise, but you look at it here, 12 points a game, 4.5 assists, and of course, 3 rebounds a game. And is he a point guard that is going to be an elite defender, a point of attack defender? No, but he's extremely fast, he's capable defensively, and he's only 25 years old. And I think that these are the type of players that Rob Pelinka wants to be targeting and ultimately needs to be targeting if he wants to, build a competitive team. Now, this would, of course, be via trade, which we'll dive into a trade here in a minute, according to a report and article, but he would be the backup point guard. Now, he's not the best shooter. Last season, he took a season and career high, 4.1 threes a game, only shot 32%. But you look back to the year before where he shot 40% from three. So clearly the ability is there. And of course, it's just a matter of, perfecting it. But again, having a backup point guard like Dosunmu, a younger guy compared to Gabe Vincent, someone who is better at facilitating and all these different things, it now becomes very, very interesting. And it's almost, with these more and more reports that keep dropping, you're kind of starting to see what Rob Pelinka's master plan is. He wants to get a point of attack defender. Now, I've mentioned Matisse Thybulle a lot here on the channel. Obviously, Ayo Dosunmu, he is an interesting guy that no one really saw coming. I mean, we were kind of blindsided by this report. And of course, Marcus Smart, who we've seen for a while. It starts to paint a picture of what Rob Pelinka is planning. Now, let's look at some of the details surrounding him and his contract before we dive into a trade here. It is no secret that the Bulls likely have Ayo Dosunmu on the trade block this offseason, and the Lakers could be certainly an intriguing trade partner. 25-year-old averaged 12, 4, and 5 basically last game with decent splits. However, he is heading into the final season of his 3-year, $21 million deal, and this is a team-friendly expiring contract. So he doesn't have control beyond this year, but you would obviously, if he likes LA and he's, you find a fit alongside Luka Doncic, I mean, you think about it, he would have LeBron on his side, Reaves on his side, DeAndre Ayton to be able to throw lobs to and things like that. Like, he would have a very good structure here, assuming that is, to grow as a player. And he's only ever played with the Bulls. Pretty dysfunctional franchise as of late. They're going in and out of players, Zach LaVine, all these different things. He's used to playing with the big man. Like he played with Nikola Vucevic. Of course, he was more of an exterior big man rather than in the paint. But it becomes very interesting. And one of the Lakers' biggest concerns, you can see in the second paragraph, is their guard depth. And that is something that we've been talking about on the channel a lot. Obviously, you have Gabe Vincent. You have some other guards. I mean, you have wings as well. Dalton, Knecht, Jake LaRavia is going to be interesting. Shake Milton, who's probably going to get, released by the Lakers and waived. And an interesting article dropped with this trade. I'm curious to see what you guys think. So this is an interesting one. Now, it's Ayo Dosunmu for Dalton Knecht and Shake Milton. Now, of course, Shake Milton is just for the salary. It's essentially a Dalton Knecht for Ayo swap, and it would be 1-for-1, obviously, Milton, because they're probably going to get rid of him anyway. And the article basically goes on to say that you could certainly argue that the Lakers should hold on to Dalton Knecht and use him for another bigger trade. Well, that might be the right approach. It's hard to see them getting Dosunmu without parting with the guard. The Lakers probably wouldn't have had to consider a move for either of these three if they were going to land DeAnthony Melton in free agency, which is a very curious point, because at this point it seems and all signs point to Melton heading to Golden State rather than the Lakers. Now we know that the Lakers are interested in Bradley Beal. The Lakers are interested in a lot of these different guys, but DeAnthony Melton seems to be, like the article says, heading to Golden State, which now makes them A, probably a bit more eager, but B, just ready to make a move. Now, do I think it's a good idea to rush a trade and trade Dalton Knecht in a deal like this where you're not getting necessarily a star back, but you're getting a very capable role player? That's the big question mark. Do they want to save one of their most important assets in Dalton Knecht and package it with your 2031 first, package it with your 3 swaps that you have, and then, of course, getting a bigger name? That's possible. But, of course, if the bigger name isn't available, then that's a null point anyway, because at the end of the day, the Lakers need to improve this team. This would improve their team. Like, Ayo Dosunmu will literally be their backup point guard. He'd probably be their 6th or 7th man off of the bench, depending on how highly you value Jake LaRavia. Whether or not Bronny James is going to get minutes this offseason, this season rather, all these different things. It would be a very, it'd be a move that definitely, you're basically changing young players. Like, Dalton Knecht is a less proven, younger, even though Dalton Knecht's not super young, but a less proven, less experienced shooter compared to Ayo, who is a very solid kind of just lower ceiling guy, you would assume. I mean, maybe he breaks out if he comes to the Lakers, and that's what makes all of this interesting. And they're interested in 3 of these guys. And I think that, Marcus Smart probably makes the most sense from a win now perspective. And if you want to build somebody and build a team actually alongside Luka and the Lakers right now, then you can, of course, have interest in Ayo Dosunmu. And Matisse Thybulle is another guy that I think you could get for very, very cheap, and he could kind of be someone who obviously is literally a point of attack defender only. If he could shoot the ball better than what he has done, then of course that would obviously be good news. But let me know down below what your thoughts are on this. Would you do Knecht for him? And if so, do you think that would be a big upgrade to the, again, Gabe Vincent spot that they have as the backup point guard? But let's dive into a few other comments here before we wrap up. DeAndre Ayton, it seems like he is ready to go. And of course, there's been a lot of conversation about DeAndre Ayton and how his lack of motivation, his lack of effort, all these different things. It seems like he's pretty locked in with the Lakers. He said, "It fuels me. This is a platform I can't run from." And that's when he was asked about the criticism he's received in his time, both with the Phoenix Suns and the Portland Trailblazers. It seems that he is taking it in stride here. He's locked in. He's ready to go. And that's obviously something that you need to have if you're going to be playing in Los Angeles, and especially playing alongside Luka Doncic, playing alongside LeBron James. And you absolutely love to see that. And speaking of good vibes, Jake LaRavia spoke on why he chose the Lakers. And he said, "I was trying to decide which team was the best fit, where I could see my role expanding and see my potential as a player to continue to grow. I think the development process is going to be great for me. I think as far as the way the team is set up, I'll fit right in." So a couple new Lakers seeming really excited about joining, and ultimately I'm excited to watch him play. I think LaRavia is going to be one of the better guys off of the bench, and I also think Ayton's going to have a breakout year. So let me know down below what your thoughts are on that. We're obviously all waiting for Pelinka to strike, and we'll keep you up to date every step of the way. Thank you guys for watching. See you later.